Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Check your booty. Check your booty. Oh, check, check, check. Sound check. Sounds good. Okay, Gnostic Society Library. The Nag Hammadi Library. The Testimony of Truth. Translated by Soren Giverson and Biger A. Pearson. Some crazy names. So let's find out what this is about. I have no ideas. Welcome to my journey as I explore the fortune mysterious world of Oz as the Emirate that I am. And the Christian mystic, the hermit. Anyways, let's just go here. So I will speak to those who know to hear, not with the ears of the body, but the ears of the mind. The testimony of truth. For many have sought after the truth and have not been able to find it, because there has taken hold of them the old leaven of the Pharisees and the scribes of the law. And the leaven is errant in the desire of the angels and the demons and stars. As for the Pharisees and the scribes, it is they who belong to the archons who have authority over them. What do you think about that? For no one who is under the law will be able to look up to the truth. For they will not be able to serve two masters. For the defilement of the law is the manifest, but the undefilement belongs to the light. The law commands one to take a husband, or to take a wife, or to beget, to multiply like the sand of the sea. But passion, which is a delight to them, constrains the soul of those who are begotten in this place. Those who defile and those who are defiled, in order that the law might be fulfilled through them. And they show that they are assisting the world, and they turn away from the light, who are unable to pass by the archon of darkness until they pay the last penny. But the Son of Man came forth from imperishability, being alien to defilement. He came to the world by the Jordan River, and immediately the Jordan turned back. And John bore witness to the deceit of Jesus. For it is he who saw the power which came down upon the Jordan River. For he knew that the dominion of carnal procreation had come to an end. The Jordan River is the power of the body, that is, the senses of pleasures. The water of Jordan is the desire for sexual intercourse. John is the archon of the womb. And this is what the Son of Man reveals to us. It is fitting for you to receive the word of truth, if one will receive it perfectly. But as for one who is in ignorance, it is difficult for him to diminish his works of darkness, which he has done. Those who have known imperishability, however, have been able to struggle against passions. I have said to you, do not build nor gather for yourselves in the place where the brigands break up. I don't know what that means. Brigands break up, but bring forth fruit to the Father. Should we look up what brigands means real fast so we don't assume anything? And it's going wacky on me. Come on, buddy. Computers. Something's going on with my computer.
Brigand.
Brigands. What did I say? I probably said something completely different. Who is a brigand? Oh, it is a practice by a brigand, a person who usually lives in a gangs and lives by privilege and robbery. Well, that sounds like our government. That sounds like oligarchs. The word brigand entered English as brigette via French from the Italian as early as 1400. A brigand is a bad guy, especially one who belongs to a band of armed robbers. Railway travel used to be dangerous in the days when brigands frequently robbed passing trains. So we learned about brigands. I had no idea. Did you? I had no idea. I know I heard it before, but it's been a while. My memory is not all that great. Anyways, especially when it comes to words. And I notice I'm not very good at when it comes to listening, speech at times. So much information goes through your head at any given time, it's hard to retain it all. The foolish, thinking in their heart that if they confess, quote, we are Christians, unquote, in word only, but not with power, while giving themselves over to ignorance, to a human death, not knowing where they are going nor who Christ is, thinking that they will live when they are really in error, hasten towards the principalities and authorities. They fall into their clutches, because of the ignorance that is in them. For if only words which bear testimony endure, this thing would be saved. But it is not this way, that they draw error to themselves. 3 lines unrecoverable. They don't know that they will destroy themselves. If the Father were to desire a human sacrifice, he would become vainglorious. For the Son of Man clothed himself with their first fruits. He went down to Hades and performed many mighty works. He raised the dead therein, and the world rulers of darkness became envious of him. For they did not find sin in him, but he also destroyed their works from among men, so that the lame and the blind and the paralytic and the dumb and the demon-possessed were granted healing. He walked upon the waters of the sea. For this reason he destroyed his flesh, from which he became salvation, his death. 4 lines unrecoverable. Everyone, how many they are. They are blind guys, like the disciples. They boarded the ship in about 30 stadies. I don't know what that means. They're stadies? Ladies? Stadies? I don't know. They saw Jesus walking on the sea. These are the empty martyrs, since they bear witness only to themselves. And yet they are sick, and they are not able to raise themselves. But when they are perfected with a martyr's death, this is the thought that they have within them. Quote, if we deliver ourselves over to death for the sake of the name, we will be saved. And a quote, these matters are not settled in this way, but through the agency of the wandering stars. They say they have completed their I'm going to futile. What am I saying? Futile course, and say, but these they have delivered themselves. 7 lines unrecoverable. But they remember. Excuse me. They resemble. This is my dyslexia. That's why my show I put the small d there. So it's O.R.D. If I'm doing it right. Small d too. So the small d represents my dyslexia. So why do you have the small d there? It's because I'm dyslexic. Dystopia, a dystopic nightmare, and part of my dystopic nightmare is I'm dyslexic. That's why I do that. The 14 Amendment right. 10 lines unrecoverable. And he stood, and they asked what they have been bound with and how they might properly release themselves. And they came to know themselves, who they are, and rather where they are now, and what is the place in which they will rest their senselessness, arriving to knowledge. These Christs will transfer to the heights, since they have renounced foolishness and have advanced to knowledge. And those who have knowledge, 11 lines unrecoverable, the great resurrection, he has to come to know the Son of Man. That is, he has come to know himself. So they know the Son of Man, did I say God? I might have did that. The Son of Man, that is, that he has come to know himself. This is the perfect life, that man know himself by means of the all, with a capital A, the all. Do not expect, therefore, the carnal resurrection, which is destruction, and they are not stripped of it, of life, who err in expecting a resurrection that is empty. They do not know the power of God, nor do they understand the interpretations of the Scriptures on account of their double-mindedness. The mystery which the Son of Man spoke about, in order that destroy, 2 lines unrecoverable, man who, book which is written, for they have, 1 line unrecoverable. Blessed, within them, they dwell before God under the light yoke. Those who do not have the life-giving word in their heart will die. In their thought, they have become manifest to the Son of Man, according to the manner of their activity and their error. Of the sort, they did not, as he divides and they do not understand the Son of Man is coming from him. But when they have come up to sacrifice, they die in a human way, and they deliver themselves. 2 lines unrecoverable, a death, and then 3 more lines unrecoverable. And those who they are many, and each one pervert gain their mind. Those who receive him to themselves with uprightness and power and every knowledge are the ones whom he will transfer to the heights unto eternal life. But those who receive him to themselves with ignorance and the pleasures which are defiled prevail over them. It is those people who used to say, quote, God created members for our use, for us to grow in defilement, in order that we might enjoy ourselves, end quote. And they cause God to participate with them in deeds of this sort. And they are not steadfast upon the earth, nor will they reach heaven. But place will for 3 lines unrecoverable, unquenchable, 3 lines unquenchable or unrecoverable. Word upon the Jordan River, when he came to Jordan at the time when he was baptized, the Holy Spirit came down upon him as a dove. Except for ourselves, that he was born of a virgin and he took flesh. He having received power, were we also begotten from a virginal state, or conceived by the Word? Rather, we have been born again by the Word. Let us therefore strengthen ourselves as virgins in the males dwell the virgin by means of in the Word but the word of and the Spirit, 4 lines unrecoverable, is the Father, and for the man, 1 line unrecoverable, like Isaiah, who was sawed with a saw, and he became 2. So also the Son of Man divides us by the word of the cross. It divides the day from the night, the light from the darkness, and the corruptible from the incorruptible. It divides the male from the female, the males from the females, But Isaiah is the type of body. The saw is the word of the Son of Man, which separates us from the error of the angels. No one knows the God of truth except solely the man who will forsake all things of the world, having renounced the whole place, and having grasped the fringe of his garment, he has set himself up as a power. He has subdued desire in every way within himself. He has and he has turned to him having also examined in becoming and the mind, and he from his soul there, and he has 1 line unrecoverable. In what way the flesh which in what way out of it, and how many powers does he have? And who is the one who has bound him? And who is the one who will loose him? And what is the light? And what is the darkness? And who is the one who has created the earth? And who is God? And who are the angels? And what is soul? And what is spirit? And where is the voice? And who is the one who speaks? And who is the one who hears? And who is the one who gives pain? And who is the one who suffers? And who is the one who has begotten corruptible flesh? And what is the governance? And why are some lame, and some blind, and some and some and some rich, and some poor? And why are some powerless, and some brigands? 4 lines unrecoverable. He having as he again fighting against thoughts of the archons and the powers of the demons, not giving them a place in which to rest. But he struggled against his passions, and he condemned their error, and he cleansed his soul from transgressions which he had committed with an alien hand. He stood up, being upright within himself, because he exists in everyone, and because he has death and life within himself, and he exists in the midst of both of them. And when he had received the power, he turned towards the part of the right, and he entered into the truth, having forsaken all things pertaining to the left, having been filled with wisdom, with counsel, with understanding, with insight, and an eternal power. He broke open his bonds. Those who had formed the whole place he condemned, but he did not find it hidden within him. And he gave command to himself, and he began to know himself and to speak with his mind, which is the father of the truth concerning the unbegotten aeons, and concerning the virgin who brought forth the light. And he thinks about the power which flows over the whole place and which takes hold of him, and he is a disciple of his mind, which is male. He began to keep silent within himself until the day when he should become worthy to be received above. He rejected for himself loquacity and disputations, and he endures the whole place, and he bears up under them, and he endures all the evil things, and he is patient with everyone. He makes himself equal to everyone, and he also separates himself from them. And that which someone wants, he brings to him in order that he might become perfect and holy. When he grasped him, having bound him upon, and he was filled with wisdom, he bore witness to the truth, the power, and he went into imperishability, the place whence he came from, having left the world which has the appearance of the night, and those that whirl the stars in it. Therefore is the true testimony, when man comes to know himself and God, who is over the truth, he will be saved. He will crown himself with a crown unfading. John was begotten by the world through a woman, Elizabeth, and Christ was begotten by the world through a virgin, Mary. What is the meaning of this mystery? John was begotten by the means of the womb, worn with age, but Christ passed through a virgin's womb. When she had conceived, she gave birth to the Savior. Furthermore, she was found to be a virgin again. Why then do you err and not seek after these mysteries which were prefigured for our sakes? It is written in the law concerning this, when God gave a commandment to Adam, from every tree you may eat, but from the tree which is in the midst of the paradise do not eat. For on the day that you eat from it, you will surely die. But the serpent was wiser than all the animals that were in the paradise, and he persuaded Eve, saying, on the day when you eat from the tree which is in the midst of the paradise, the eyes of your mind will be opened. And Eve obeyed, and she stretched forth her hand and took from the tree and ate, and she also gave to her husband with her. And immediately they knew that they were naked, and they took some fig leaves and put them on as girdles. But God came at the time of evening, walking in the midst of paradise. When Adam saw him, he hid himself. He said, Adam, where are you? Maybe he's omnipotent, omnipresent. He answered and said, I have come under a fig tree. And at the very moment, God knew that he had eaten from the tree which he had commanded him, do not eat of it. And he said to him, who is it who has instructed you? And Adam answered, the woman whom you have given me, And the woman said, "It is the serpent who instructed me." And he, God, cursed the serpent and called him devil. And he said, "Behold, Adam has become like one of us, knowing evil and good." Then he said, "Let us cast him out of paradise, lest he take from the tree of life and eat and live forever." Well, that's not very nice, if you think about it. And what happened to this omnipotent God? How come he didn't know where he's looking around for Adam? He couldn't find it, but he's all present. I think this is not the same God that people. But what sort is this God? For he maliciously refused Adam from eating of the tree of knowledge. And secondly, he said, "Adam, where are you?" And God does not have foreknowledge. Who would he not know from the beginning? And afterwards he said, "Let us cast him out of this place, lest he eat of the tree of life and live forever. Surely he has shown himself to be a malicious grudger." What kind of a God is this? For great is the blindness of those who read, and they did not know him. And he said, "I am the jealous God. I will bring sins of the fathers upon the children until 3 and 4 generations." And he said, "I will make their heart thick, and I will cause their mind to become blind, that they might not know nor comprehend the things that are said. But these things he has said to those who believe in him and serve him." And in one place Moses writes, "He made the devil a serpent for those who he has in his generation." Also in the book, which is called Exodus, it is written thus: "He contended against the magicians when the place was full of serpents according to their wickedness, and the rod which was in the hand of Moses became a serpent, and it swallowed up the serpents of the magicians." And again it is written in Numbers 21:9, "He made a serpent of bronze and hung it upon a pole." One line unrecoverable, which, ... for one who will gaze upon this bronze serpent, none will destroy him. And the one who will believe in this bronze serpent will be saved. For this is Christ. Those who believe in him have received life. Those who do not believe will die. Pretty wild, pretty wild. What then is this faith they do not serve? 16 lines unrecoverable, of course. And you, we, and you do not understand Christ spiritually when you say we believe in Christ. For this is the way Moses writes in every book. The book of the generation of Adam is written for those who are in the generation of the law. They follow the law and they obey it, and one line unrecovered, but we're going recoverable, together with the This is okay. This is what they find, and this is what they end up making their whole theology on. All of us do it some way, some sort, right? There's a whole lot of missing information and everything. Have you noticed that? Okay, page 51 through 54 of Codex, almost completely missing. Cool. The Ogdod, or Dode, Ogdod, the Ogdod, something like that, or Dode, something like that, Ogdod, which is the 8th, and we have received the place of salvation. But they know not what salvation is, but they enter into for misfortune and into a in death, in the waters, that is the baptism of death, which they observe. 7 lines unrecoverable. come to death, and this is according to lines 19 through the end of the page, unrecoverable. He completed the course of Valentinus. He himself speaks about the Og Doad or Dod, Ogdod, something like that. His disciples resemble the disciples of Valentinus. They, on their part, moreover, do not leave the good, but they have worship of the idols. 8 lines unrecoverable. And he spoke many words, and he has written many books, and words. Line 16 through the end of page unrecoverable. And they manifest from the confusion in which they are, in the deceit of the world, for they go to that place, together with their knowledge which is vain. And Isidore, also his son, resembles Basilus. How do I pronounce that? Basilids. What is basilids? Let's find out what that is. Oh, the journey. A lot of missing bits, pieces. What is a basilid? Syrian philosopher Basilid, his person. Flourished in 2nd century A.D. Alexandria scholar and teacher who founded the school of Gnosticism known as the Basilidians. Maybe, if that's what they say. I mean, your guess is as good as mine when it comes to all this. You might be asking, why am I doing this? Why not? He also and many, and he but he did not this and other disciples blind but he gave them pleasures. Line 16 through the end of the page unrecoverable. They do not agree with each other, for the Simeons take wives and begot children, but they abstain from their nature and a passion, and the drops of anoint them. 1 line unrecoverable. Which we and they agree with each other. Him they and lines 14 through the end of the page unrecoverable. The judgment these and on account of the and them the heretics the schisms and the males are men belong to the world rulers of darkness. 1 line unrecoverable. Of the world 1 line unrecoverable. They have the archons power, 1 line unrecoverable. Judge them but they words of line 20 through the end of the page unrecoverable. Speak while they become in fire unquenchable, and they are punished. But these who are the generation of the Son of Man have revealed to the in all of the affairs. 2 lines unrecoverable. But it is difficult to find one and the two 2 lines unrecoverable. For the Savior said to his disciples 1 and line 19 through the end of the page unrecoverable. And he has in wisdom as well as counsel and understanding and intelligence and knowledge and power and truth. He has summed and from above the place where the Son of Man. 2 lines unrecoverable. Power guard against lines 14 to the page unrecoverable. He knows and understands. 1 line unrecoverable. Worthy of him and true. Alien, but together with evil in 2 lines unrecoverable. He received baptism and those that and line 13 through the end of the page unrecoverable. Page 63 through 64 old codex missing. In a dream, silver for, but becomes wealthy among the authorities. One line unrecoverable. But the 16th, and thus, word and they in gold. Lines, 18 lines unrecoverable, they think. One line unrecoverable. We have been sealed from the flesh. One line unrecoverable. Not turned to him. Jesus. One line unrecoverable. The beginning. A son. One line unrecoverable. Out of. Which is the pattern. Light of 16 lines unrecoverable. To find from defilement which one line unrecoverable. They do not blaspheme. Them not. Neither is there any pleasure nor desire, nor can they control them. It is fitting that they should become undefiled in order that they may show to everyone that they are from the generation of the Son of Man, since it is about them that the Savior bore witness. But those who are from the seed of Adam are manifest by their deeds, which are their work. They have not ceased from desire which is wicked. But some, the dogs, the angels, for which they begot, will come there with their 9 lines unrecoverable. Move as they on the day when they will beget children. Not only that, but that they have intercourse with while they are giving suck. Well, that's pretty crazy. But thus are caught up in the death of and they are pulled every which way, and they are gratified by unrighteous mammon. They lend money at interest, they waste time, and they don't work, but he who is father of mammon is also father of sexual intercourse. Okay. But he who is able to renounce them shows that he is from the generation of the Son of Man and has power to accuse them. He restrains parts in a weakness, and he makes the outer like the inner. He resembles an angel, which one line unrecoverable power said them, but the one 5 lines unrecoverable, and having withdrawn he became silent, having ceased from loquidity and disputations. But he who has found the life-giving word, he who has come to know the Father of truth, has come to rest. He has ceased seeking, having found. And when he found, he became silent. But a few are things he used to say to those that with their intellectual mind, There are some. There are some who, upon entering the faith, receive a baptism on the ground that they have it as a hope of salvation, which they call the seal, not knowing that the fathers of the world are manifest in that place. But he himself knows that he is sealed, for the Son of Man did not baptize any of his disciples, but if those who are baptized were headed for life, the world would become empty. The fathers of baptism were defiled, but the baptism of truth is something else. It is by renunciation of the world that it is found. But those who say only with the tongue that they are renouncing it are lying, and they are coming to the place of fear. Moreover, they are humbled within it, just as those to whom it was given to have been condemned. they shall get something. They are wicked in their behavior. Some of them fall away to the worship of idols. Others have demons dwelling with them, as did David the king. He is one who laid the foundation of Jerusalem, and his son Solomon, whom he begot in adultery, is the one who built Jerusalem by means of demons, because he received power. When he had finished building, he imprisoned the demons in the temple. He placed them in 7 water pots. They remained a long time in the water pots, abandoned there. When the Romans went up to Jerusalem, they discovered the water pots immediately. Where were we at? And immediately demons ran out of the water pots, as those who escaped from prison. The water pots remained pure thereafter. And since those days they dwell with men who are in ignorance, and they have remained upon the earth. Who then is David? Who is Solomon? And what is the foundation? And what is the wall which surrounds Jerusalem? Who are the demons? And what are the water pots? Who are the Romans? But these are mysteries. 11 lines unrecoverable. Victorious over the Son of Man, undefiled. 3 lines unrecoverable. He, when he, 4 is a great. 1 line unrecoverable. To this nature. 1 line unrecoverable. Those that, all in a blessed. And they like a salamander. It goes into the flaming fire which burns exceedingly. It slithered into the furnace. 13 lines unrecoverable. The furnace, 1 line unrecoverable. The boundaries, and they might see, and the power and sacrifice, and great is the sacrifice. 2 lines unrecoverable, but in a aside, and the Son of Man, and he has become manifest through the bubbling fountain of immortality. 1 line unrecoverable. He is pure, and he is a free man is not envious. He is set apart from everyone, from every audacity and envy, the power which is great, and is a disciple, pattern of life, law. These and only. 2 lines unrecoverable. They placed him under a teaching. 1 line unrecoverable. He's teaching, saying, even if an angel comes from heaven and preaches to you beyond that which we preach to you, may he be anathema. Galatians 1:8. I don't know how that showed up there. Not letting the soul which freedom, for they are still immature. They are not able to keep the law which works by means of these heresies. Though it is not they, but the powers of Sabbath, by means of the doctrines, and they have been jealous of some, the law and Christ. Those who will power, and they reach the 12 judgment, them and the fountain of immortality. In order that, so 3 lines are recoverable. In order that 3 more lines unrecoverable, and good, the whole place, and there the enemies. He baptized himself, and he became divine. He flew up, and they did not grasp him. And there the enemies, since it was not possible for them to bring him down again. If ever, does not grasp him with ignorance, attending to those who teach in the corners by means of carved things and artful tricks. They are not able. ... Page 75 and 76, the codex missing. Original translation of this text was prepared by members of the Coptic Gnostic Library Project of the Institute for Antiquity and Christianity, Claremont Graduate School. The Coptic Gnostic Library Project was funded by the UNESCO and the National Endowment for the Humanities and other institutions. That's not very good. E.J. Brill has asserted copyright on texts published by the Coptic Gnostic Library Project. The translation presented here has been edited, modified, and formatted for use in the Gnostic Society Library. For academic citations, please refer to the published edition of this text. Yeah, so there we go. That's the testimony of truth. So interesting things that were brought up. Archons, Christ, angels, demons, good spirits, evil spirits, the dualistic nature of this creation. Who was that God that created the garden? And who was that serpent? The bronze serpent that was brought up. Heavenly Father, what are we dealing with? Who is Christ? In the name of Christ, Jesus. Heavenly Father, what's going on? I have no idea, except the more and more study scriptures, whether it's the 66 books that they allotted for us to read, and all the rest of them, it becomes very clear there was a Christ, whether people like it or not. Something did happen for people to bother to write these different scriptures, these different books. Whether it's the Nag Hammadi, or other texts, they bothered for a reason. That's simply just to promote a new imperial religious or cult. Something more going on here. And there's something about the name Jesus that either pisses people off or gives them hope. And it's the most powerful name in the world for some reason. Now, I know there's people by the name Jesus, but the name itself, we're referring to the Son of Man and what he actually did. An alien that came in this mysterious way. That even the demons, even evil spirits, even such things as cryptids, recognize it. What's going on? What is going on?